stress, just need a break. Grab a beer, some tequila, it's gonna be great. Come on, all my friends, it's the Tony Gallo Show.
Bro, I gotta fix that. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Tony Gallo Show. My name is Tony. This is my best friend and co-host, Sahaj. Sahaj, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm burnt.
Burnt up.
Very tan.
Sahaj and I have known each other since 2017, December of 2017.
That's right.
We met each other in the police academy. I think we didn't really become friends until like April of 2018 though, right?
Yeah, there was a bit of time that we were just like acquaintances at first.
Yeah, I would argue we're still acquaintances now.
Yeah, at best. I think
I'm
best
kidding.
case scenario we're acquaintances.
Kidding.
I'm not. Just kidding.
No, but we've known each other for a very long time, and now we host a podcast together. I started this podcast back in 2019. I did it kind of alone, and then I kind of got my one of my good friends, Brian, involved, and then my sister. So over the years, it just kind of like developed into different things. But thanks for joining us. Like, I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. And we're just like, I'm not a professional or anything, not yet. And we're just like, I'm messing with the soundboard, trying to get stuff like worked out and stuff. Hey, last episode, we kind of had a negative start. And I was like, hey, there's a lot of negativity. So I wanted to start with a positive thing today.
Was it the politics was negative, right?
The politics was very negative. It was negative. People didn't like it on the TikTok. They were coming after our necks. But that's okay. That's okay. I like it. I like the engagement.
Me too.
But I wanted to start with something positive. I love TikTok. I love the stories on TikTok. This was part of my algorithm. This is from @Haley and Sand. And here's this video that I wanted to share. Here it goes. Go ahead and play it, producer.
This video is for the woman that was on United Flight 280 yesterday in seat 31B. I was in seat 31A. And although you and I didn't speak the entire time, when I landed in Denver, Colorado, it was announced that some of us had a tight connection flight and to raise our hand, and I was the person that raised my hand next to you. And when you could tell something was wrong and nobody was getting out of the way so that I could get off the plane early, you asked me what was wrong, and I told you. I said, I normally would not be that person, but I just booked this flight a couple hours ago after I was informed that my grandfather was put on comfort care, and if I don't make this flight, I don't think I'll get to say goodbye. You didn't know me anything, but you stepped out into the aisle and you announced very loudly to everybody to please step aside so that I could get off the plane in a timely manner. We landed 25 minutes before my next flight was supposed to depart, and it was a 22-minute walk across the Denver airport. We flew into like gate 73-ish, and I was flying out of 12. I had to walk all the way across. I just want you to know that I made that flight, and I got to be there last night, and I got to tell my grandfather how much I loved him, and he got to tell me back, and he understood what I was saying, and I got to be there all day today with my family. And when he made his way to be with the Lord today, I was there, and it was because you made that happen. And I don't know what your name was, but I owe you so much thanks. And so if that was you on flight United 280 from San Antonio, Texas to Denver, Colorado yesterday, thank you so much. You didn't have to do that, but you made such a big impact on my life, and I'm so grateful.
Isn't that an awesome story?
Wow.
You just never know what other people are going through, and here's someone who like stepped up for this individual who was probably like, I'm not the one. I don't think I would be the one that has the ability to just get, like I'm in the back of the plane and be like, yo, I gotta like get out. I just don't, I don't know if I have that in me, to like, I don't know. I just don't know. But for someone to recognize, like maybe she's sad or whatever, and to see what was going on with her, and then like make that announcement and say, "Yo, move! We got someone that needs to get off this plane." And for her to be able to see her grandfather before the grandfather passed away, I think that was very powerful. So I wanted to start up with a lift. I call it a lifts me up story. Are you lifted up or what, Saj?
I am.
Good.
It's got me in the feels.
Good. Don't bring any negativity, okay? This is a very positive environment now. Don't ruin it
All
now.
right, let's get into politics.
All right, Donald Trump. No, I'm just kidding.
Trump.
Donald Trump. We're pulling up our notes. If you see us on our phones, it's not because like we're like distracted, like texting or something.
No, I'm texting.
Like,
I'm just
I'm literally trying to put my passcode.
Sahaj needs to be more PG.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you need to
That
be
is
more
literally
PG.
next on the agenda and says Sahaj needs to be more PG.
You need to be more PG because, well, we send this to our friend, and he listened to it, and you were saying some crazy stuff. Like YouTube's gonna cancel you, like not the people. YouTube's gonna be like, "Yo, you're saying stuff that's against our policy. Stop saying stuff like that." You know.
So are you saying for me not to be authentic?
And the other thing,
Should I be inauthentic?
you should be authentic, but I'm gonna challenge you to do something, to just like curse less or something. You know.
But I thought but I thought this show was meant to. Is this meant for like a children audiences as well? To the
No,
point
it's not
where,
meant for a children's audience. I'm not saying that.
So should I? So do you want me to curse less because? But
Just
like
be
I,
your authentic self.
yeah,
Be
I was gonna
authentic.
say I was like that's part of my vocabulary.
You know what? I'm just challenging you to
You know you can
do something
challenge
that's
these nuts.
that's challenging. But you see, and then my microphone's all over the place. But you see, and
That's
I'm just trying to challenge you to do something. You know, to
I
better
just
yourself.
don't feel
And,
appreciated that I'm being attacked for
Hey,
my
mate,
podcast personality.
doing a Barney show?
Are we doing like a child show?
Children's show? Like, no, we're not. We're just like trying to like challenge ourselves to become, better, I guess. But
Yeah, you know what?
Remember when I stopped cursing? Now I curse a little more than I used to.
You
'cause
stopped and then you started a little bit. You're just a little bit back.
in there.
I really don't say like any of the big words though.
No, you never used to curse before, though, I think. But when I first met you, you did not used to curse as much as you curse now. Now it's like, shit that, shit this. I'm like, damn, dude. Someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed
It's
every day.
I feel like it's not that bad, but obviously I gotta take what you say seriously because you live with me, so maybe
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. What was after Sahaj needs to be more PG?
It says something about 19-year-old arrested in Georgia because you want to send us down the negativity train. Talk about ICE. So there's a 19-year-old arrested in Georgia by ICE.
Yeah.
And then thus
Well,
released.
let me tell you about the story because I don't know if you've heard of it. There was a traffic stop conducted on a truck. Now, later on, after a traffic stop, but police and law enforcement in Georgia, I don't know which department this was specifically,
Yeah.
they came out and said, "Oh, we actually pulled over the wrong truck." Like, a truck committed an infraction and they pulled over the wrong truck.
Sure. Okay.
It happens, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And however, somehow, which I think I used to be a police officer. I think it's kind of stupid. This department's policy is that they're gonna take if you don't have a driver's license, they're gonna arrest you. I'm like, oh, okay, well that's a waste of time. Yeah.
Which technically speaking, right?
I think
can't we still do that? Can't we do that? Like
Yeah.
we can take someone to the Class C jail for not having a driver's license.
But do you want to spend your time doing that?
I would.
Like, which
I don't
officer
think it's
wants
worth it.
It's just a waste of time, in my opinion.
Right.
But anyway, so the officer has every right to do that, and I think in many instances, if the person who is being like who doesn't have a driver's license, if they're trying to get all like crazy and uppity up and all this stuff, then you take enforcement to the maxes, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But anyway, in this case, I didn't watch body camera video or anything. I don't know how the situation went, but the 19-year-old, she was like one of those who was brought in by her parents into the country when she was like 5 or something. I think I remember reading, and she was arrested for no driver's license, and then she ended up in ICE detention through
Oh wow.
through that arrest.
Wow.
So I guess like in this place in Georgia, because in Dallas it'd be different. It'd be like if you're going in for a Class C violation, no driver's license, Class C violation, you'd be going to the cities. You'll be under the city's custody, not the county's custody. And in the county is where ICE is. But in the city, as far as I know, ICE doesn't work with the city of Dallas, right?
So they will work
In
with
Dallas,
the city,
yeah.
but it's not gonna. That's not gonna be in the city jail.
Like, yeah, in the city jail, there's
no immigration hold.
We know
area
in
that we
county
know of.
jail there's ICE, which makes sense because in
Right.
county jail is Class B or higher. Those are going to be more violent crimes that are committed.
Right.
So, and then city jail is just like traffic enforcement, things like that. So she gets arrested.
Mm-hmm.
She ends up in ICE custody, and I'm like, man, that kind of sucks, you know, for a
Yeah.
19-year-old. I think she was in community college, and she was just like someone who kind of grew up here. And I'm like, man, I the situations like that, you know, you don't, where are you gonna send? You're gonna send them back to to their homeland. Yeah, they were born there, but they don't know anything about that country.
Right.
But I was happy to see that there was an update on this matter, and ICE actually released her, and she was able to come, stay in the United States. And she wasn't on DACA either. She was ineligible for DACA whenever that program came out because of her age or something like that.
So she would just have a consulate card, right, or like a matricula. Is that right?
If she chooses to, yeah, as a form of ID. I think she had, now that you brought that up, I think I read the story and it said that she had an international driver's license.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
There was an update on that, I think, as of today or yesterday too, by the way.
on that story, do you?
Yeah,
Oh, so you do know the story.
Yeah,
Oh.
so I believe the officer on that conducted that traffic stop resigned.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but
Huh.
I just saw the update said the officer conducted that traffic stop resigned.
That's
It's not like he did anything wrong or anything like
no,
that.
the
but
officer didn't do anything wrong.
but yeah, he ended up resigning.
But I say all this to say that I appreciate and this is proof, I think, to me at least, that there seems to be a common sense approach to ICE detentions. Like they're not just going to ship this girl out to a country that she doesn't know. It seems to be a common sense approach to this. She was released within back into the United States, and that's a good thing. So that's why I say that.
Yeah, and then that's like they need to work on something where they can get some programs made for these individuals so we can grant them citizenship. Kind of like we talked about last time, right? Didn't we talk about Dreamers and all that last time?
Yeah, Donald Trump said that
Yeah, we
he
did.
wants to work with the Democrats and the Dreamers, get Dreamers some sort of like more secure status, especially those who are, well, they're specifically speaking, I think about the people on DACA, get them a more secure status here in the United States, because DACA, the way I see it, is a program that was developed by Barack Obama through an executive order,
Right.
and it just doesn't have that like oof to it, like it doesn't feel very secure, very protected. So I think the president wants to work with Democrats on finding something that's a little more protective, a little more like, like you can stay here for a while. And I think they have to register every couple years, and it's a whole thing. It's a legal process,
And
it costs
they
money.
got to maintain like obviously clean record and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's why whenever I see those out in the field, I can appreciate the fact that like they're doing what they can to upkeep that, and they're doing what they can to, get the citizenship. And it's never something that I ever mess with. I don't ever try to like write those people for like just minor infractions, and typically always end up letting them go. But because I'm not trying to be the one who ruins their citizenship process. Now, if you do something egregious, that's one thing, but some minor, you keep doing your thing.
But yeah, that's not. Someone on TikTok said we spread propaganda.
No, are we gonna do that? Are we gonna go over?
No, I don't want to. I don't care about it.
No, we're not gonna do the comment. Like, go talk about the comments.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Why not?
It's just a waste of time.
It's not.
it's a waste of time.
I feel
I mean,
like,
unless do you want to do it?
Yeah,
I say
yeah,
you
yeah,
want. I say
I do.
you got to be your authentically self. But
yeah, I do want to do
all right,
it.
let's spend maybe a minute or so. I
So,
don't want to go too deep into this.
No,
But if you want to do it, go.
I think it's great for entertainment if because we got some pretty interesting comments. Actually, got a lot of comments. Some of them were quite unhappy people. It's good that we.
Do you want me to pull it up here?
Yeah, let's review one of them. I feel like that's very.
I don't want to spend too much time on it though.
You don't have to.
I don't want to spend
the
too
woman-
much
You,
time on
you let me
it.
get started on it. All right.
No.
Let's pick the most.
And I posted, obviously, I posted some stuff that I thought would garner attention, and it did, and it garnered negative attention.
But I do feel like you've kind of toned yourself significantly back
Went to like what
on
do you
this
mean?
podcast.
Like overall, or like-
Overall,
oh, I do want to say one thing. Whoa. Sorry, I'm speaking over myself. With like politics stuff.
yeah, overall viewpoints and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Not very
yeah.
opinionated as much. Become quite boring if you ask me. but,
Wow. You know what?
That's
No,
what I
let's
was
talk
trying to
about
get
that. You want to be negative. You want to. No, I mean, I have my opinion. I share my opinions. But I also try to be a very objective person. And a very objective person, I am the greatest entertainer of them all. But a very objective person is going to come off as boring sometimes, when it comes to political stuff. So, yeah.
It's not so much. It's not so much.
You on the other side, you're very emotional,
No, I'm very
angry.
No, I'm very no. I like to. I'm just true to myself. But like normally, like I feel like in your previous days, you would have been like, yeah, let's review some of these comments and let's see what's going on with and stuff like that. Like you first brought up, and then now like you wanted to kind of hunker down. Like
I don't.
A little.
Well, no, it's not about hunkering down like
you wanna,
a little.
You want to hunker down.
No,
like
excuse me. It's not about hunkering down or whatever. It's just about not. We want to make it a positive podcast. It's more, it's more about the entire environment that we're creating here. But
this is good for
you are my co-host, and I need to take what you say into consideration as well, and give you an opportunity to do what you want to do.
Let's pick the most negative comment you got in there.
Yeah. Somebody said I
Negativity
have a
sells.
cactus on my forehead.
What? A cactus?
A
Like
cactus. I think that's a saying in Spanish. They're like, "Oh, tienes el nopal en la frente."
Uh-huh.
That means cactus. I think it's just a saying like you look like you like. I don't know what it means. I honestly, I'm not gonna even act like I know what it means. I know I've heard it before, but yeah. So they said I had a cactus on my forehead. I said that's very rude, so I wore a hat. No, I'm just kidding. I did not wear a hat just because of that. I forgot about that comment. I actually wore a hat because I haven't done my hair today.
There's an individual on here, not going to say his name, but the actual comment he wrote was justifying deportations with a cactus on your forehead is crazy. That's pretty interesting because one, I don't know what that means. You don't know what that. You don't know.
I do. It means basically like you look like someone who immigrated from here and you're justifying deportations, kind of deal.
Oh,
Something like that.
Okay, so it's kind of like
That's how I took it, at least. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong out there.
Wow, it's a very passionate comment. We'll take we'll take one more, and wow, okay.
That was the immigration video. I think this one. Oh no, this one was the other one. About I posted a video on it. This, by the way, is on our TikTok, Tony Gallo Show TikTok. And
So this one's about sounds like the markets.
Breaking
stock
news.
market.
He started this mess, and we should all guarantee the agreement won't be better than what we already had. Referring to, I think, like the agreement that they were coming with the tariffs negotiations between the U.S. and China. So yeah.
There was one of them that stated that on the previous video, one of the comments said, "This is propaganda."
Yeah, this is propaganda. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
I was like, man, we need to do more. We need to do a segment, a propaganda segment where we just talk about, I don't know, propaganda stuff.
Yeah, propaganda.
It's like propaganda, I'm assuming, but from cops.
Yeah, and what I've noticed is not a lot of people.
That's a great term. Thank you for the idea.
Yeah, not a lot of people like that because it's like you're taking the side of the police, and at the end of the day, based just to that comment, I think 99.9% of officers in the United States, hell, in the world, I believe, always do the right thing, and I believe there's nothing wrong with spreading quote unquote propaganda or positive law enforcement news, because if you go on to these news networks, you just see how much negativity.
Is that what propaganda is, by the way? Positive law enforcement news?
Propaganda is the promotion of law enforcement, meaning like Back the Blue is considered propaganda, right?
I didn't know that. This is an actual
Matter.
term. I didn't even know it was an actual term.
It is.
Oh,
It took place it mainly started up in like the 2020 during the race riots, during like the protests and stuff like that. And it's actually propaganda is actually a negative term. It's a negative term. It's never been used in positive light. And so whenever you say like, oh, like you're spreading propaganda, it means you're spreading this news that is putting positive light on law enforcement, when the people who don't like law enforcement are against law enforcement. They're the ones who want to preach, anti-police stuff and anti-propaganda. So, but we're going to keep doing propaganda, because we do believe that 99.9% of officers do the right thing in this case. And it's important to highlight that, because when you go on the news networks, you always see some crazy story of something that happens and some negative law enforcement news, and that sells. That sells for the media. So we are trying to spread positive. Tony said positivity and everything.
With all that said, though, Memorial Day is coming up. Dude, I was running the Katy Trail, and I see this every year. By the way, I discovered the Katy Trail. I was to call Sahaj earlier today. I said, Sahaj, I give so much money to the Katy Trail people. They're thinking about naming the Katy Trail to me. The Tony Trail, they're trying to rename it. He didn't like that idea.
I would just move. That's just crazy.
He didn't like the idea.
It's like when they rewrote the Sears Tower from like Sears Tower to Willis Tower. It's like, why?
I said to the people of the Katy Trail, I said, don't do that. Let's keep it the Katy Trail for right now. You don't have to do that. They said, Mr. Gallo, we want to name it the Tony Trail, Mr. Gallo.
Yeah, Tony gives all of his like fake Monopoly money towards it and wants to have the whole thing named after him.
I'm kidding. Sometimes I imagine things in my head. The Katy Trail had this awesome, just a patriotic like run that I had this afternoon, 30-minute run. And dude, I mean, like the US flags are just on either side of the trail, and there's these memorials, these poster memorials of police officers and military officers who have given up, who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
So it's very just very moving, honestly. So appreciate those honestly who made the ultimate sacrifice, and their families too, in our defense, because it's something, man. Like, no one goes into law enforcement, no one goes into the military with wanting to do that. No one does that. No one does that. I think you understand it's a tough job. It takes a lot of courage, but you don't go in like it's a suicide mission. No one does that. And I say all that. I say that because sometimes people are like, well, you know what they signed up for. And I'm like, well, no, that's not. No one does that. No one wants to go into that profession to die. Nobody wants to go into that profession to die. No one does that. And for these people who make the ultimate sacrifice, I think there's always an understanding. It's a tough job. It's a life or death kind of job. And they make these decisions to go into these professions and give it all. And honestly, like, I cannot be more appreciative towards first responders and our men and women in uniform out there in different areas of the world, defending us and doing the Lord's work, as we like to say. So happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. Just remembering those who gave it up. Who gave it all up in our defense, and their families as well. I mean, their families, man. I always feel for the mother who has to bury their child. I always feel for that, for the wife who or the husband who needs to bury their spouse and with their kids there. I mean, it's a tough thing. So, yeah.
Dude, I try to read as many of those as I can over the span of the weekend. Just do it every year. And there's this one that really stuck out at me. Dude was 17 years old, right? It said on his little biography thing. He said that so at 17 he got a scholarship out of high school to go to college. He told the school, he's like, give the scholarship to someone who needs it, and proceeded to get an early enlistment into the military. His mom signed off on the waiver, joined at 17 years old, was killed in combat at 18. Yeah, that's freaking that stuff is so moving. What they put on there, it's like it gets you real emotional. There's like stories like that. It's kind of like, dude, 17 years old, dead at 18, just trying to defend her freedom. Yeah, you got cops on there, you got firefighters on there. Some of the stories, like they got some Navy SEAL ones on there, which are pretty badass. But like a lot of them, dude, that I read were suicides.
That's a big thing in law enforcement and in the military.
Military.
Suicide. It's a tough thing. Mental health is a tough thing, man. And honestly, like there's hope out there for anyone. If you happen to run into this video, this podcast, like all I can say is like there's hope out there. Whatever you're feeling, there's hope. There's a better life. I wholeheartedly believe that.
It just kind of grinds my gears that like you walk the trail, you see all that stuff, you see all this, you see people who've literally given their lives for the freedom for you to even walk that trail, for one. And then like it's just there's still so much like disconnect out in the world of like there's like anti-police rhetoric and there's like propaganda, I guess, and stuff like that. It's really sad to see that there's people who will still not stand for the flag, will not take off their hats during national anthem, will stomp on the flag, burn it. And I think that we saw that in like 2020. This puts everything, all your freedoms into perspective. I love the fact that they do this. This is so cool. This is so neat.
I think it's I was thinking today, I was like, man, I saw a video or something like that of like it was like an Air Force kind of show. I don't know what it was, but I saw a video and the caption was, "This is why Americans feel safe sleeping at night." And I think we just take that for granted sometimes because, like, I just can't imagine. Like, imagine being in Ukraine right now, imagine being in Ukraine right now, where it's like a bomb can come and blast your apartment building at any time. Like how scary is that? And it's not only in Ukraine. I'm sure it's in other countries where it's like
Palestine, just
constant war and constant just chaos. And here we just take these kind of like, we're just like, if a bomb just fell somewhere in the United States, it'd be a shocking thing. It'd be a shocking thing, because it doesn't happen here. And that starts with the men and women who go and sign up to be in these professions, to be our defense, That's where it all starts. If we didn't have courageous men and women to do these jobs, our country would be taken advantage of left and right. I think we'd be getting bombed left and right, and we don't get bombed. And I think we just forget how good we have it here, because you think about other countries in this world and they're getting bombed.
Yeah,
people are being innocent, people being killed and whatnot. So
it's like their new norm. It's like their norm is to like shelter in place. Their norm is to like dodge freaking mortar rounds. It's crazy though.
It is crazy. One last political thing, and I think we can move off this topic. How about that?
We'll stay on it.
Okay. No, Trump met with the South African president, and they're talking about the genocide going on in South Africa.
I know nothing about what's going on.
Yeah,
I know nothing about this.
I didn't know anything about it either, but they were talking about genocide going on in South Africa. I said, what's going on? I watched the entire press conference, and basically the South African president's like, oh, no, nothing's going on. Everything's fine. And Donald Trump's like, okay, turn off the lights, pull up the TV, and then started showing a video of some people within the South African government, political parties within South Africa, who are chanting like "kill the white farmer, kill the white farmer," like just like explicit stuff about. I guess they want to wipe out white people in South Africa.
What?
And they're like farming. I didn't know this, but they're the people who farm over there. Like 70% of the farmers down there.
Okay.
The number was something. It was thrown in the press conference. Don't quote me on this, but most of them were white farmers, and yeah, they got very interesting. That press conference got very interesting. But yeah, Donald Trump was like, you gotta arrest these people, and like how are you gonna let like political I would call them political influencers representing a political party fill up a stadium of people, and then they're chanting like kill. I think, I mean, there shouldn't be any like chanting of kill anyone, right? Whether you're white, black, Hispanic, whatever, killing people. If you get in the stadium and you're chanting kill people, there's something very wrong with that, right?
Yeah. So wait, just to rewind. So this press conference, because I know he invited the South African prime minister or whatever to the White House.
Yeah.
So the South African prime minister denied any type of doing, or
I think
denied
it's
the
the South
existence.
African president.
The president?
Yeah.
So he
yeah.
denied the fact that this is going on, and Trump literally is like, all right, play the video.
Yeah, he was like, there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on. And then Trump's like, okay, well, turn off the lights, play the video. And they're playing the video in the White House, and he just like, Trump, the South African president, at first he was like kind of like just like laughing it off or something, and Donald Trump like watch it.
Dude, I love that, man.
But and then he showed them this like this road of, they were like the president was saying that President Trump was saying that there were farmers who were buried on the sides of these roads, and it was like a drone footage, and there were crosses to symbolize all the dead bodies, and it was just packed with crosses, and the president was like, you see all that, like they're taking their land, and then they're killing them because they're white. And basically Trump was like, how are you allowing this to happen in your country? Like, what's going on? So I thought it was very interesting. And at the end of the day, we just have to eradicate hate. We have to eradicate wanting to kill each other. That's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. So, it's a good thing that he brought it to light,
Yeah, so a lot of these articles here are saying how Trump misrepresented it and all that.
Well, of course.
There's so much like I feel like they just try to turn these Trump stories into just, oh, Trump misrepresented it. Oh, Trump was ignorant to this fact, whatever.
What does that even mean? He misrepresented.
Yeah.
What did he misrepresent?
It was saying that he misrepresented the video or the pictures to act like it was an actual genocide, when this article, CBS, was simply like, yeah, it's not genocide. It's just like, so anyway, I say that to say, question, why, if it doesn't pertain to the United States, right? Like, is it just normal?
The reason that I think President Trump brought it up is because there's so many applications for asylum coming into the United States from white people in South Africa,
Gotcha.
saying like, yo, there's something. So I think he's trying to be like, yo, what's going on? And that's how the matter was brought to the United States, because there's so many white South Africans applying for asylum here in the United States. And I'm assuming like they started looking into it. It's like, well, are you guys scared for your lives? And then, and then that happened. So
makes sense. Because I was wondering, why does the U.S. get involved in that again? But like, that makes sense. But it's involving immigration.
Yeah, they come into the United States, and then, so hopefully the United States can, because the South African president it said he was willing to work with kind of eradicating this. So hopefully the U.S. can offer whatever resources we have to put an end to that, and take out.
Yeah, and South Africa is pretty in the continent of Africa. South Africa is probably one of the more established and I guess you could say well off than a lot of the other countries.
Developed country. I don't know if it's developed or
think
developing.
Yeah, I think it's significantly more developed than some of the other ones.
Do you remember the three like categories that you learned? I don't know why this stuck to me. It's like underdeveloped, developing, and developed countries.
I've never heard of that. Was that in like social studies?
It's something they teach in Texas, and probably not in Illinois. I don't know what they teach in Illinois.
In Illinois, they teach propaganda.
Okay, let's talk about fitness a little bit. I will say, like, people
sorry.
have been complimenting me a lot, man. They say, Tony, what are you doing? What are you doing, Tony? At Jenny's party yesterday, Jennifer's one of my best friends. I went to her 30th birthday party, and a lot of her family were like, I didn't even recognize you. I'm like, damn, was I that heavy? But I lost about 20 pounds since December, and
Round of applause.
We have an applause thing here somewhere.
That's fine. Take 2 hours to figure it out. I'm just joking. Just kidding.
Very funny. Yeah. So I mean, the biggest thing is being in a caloric deficit, right?
So hard.
That's the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been trying to stay for the last few weeks now, under 1,600 calories each day. I have locked in days and I have locked out days. Yesterday was a locked out day, so I was going in on food, man. That's what makes it fun though. Like when you're like locked in for like a week or two, and then you give yourself that one day where you're like going to have some flexible dieting. Yeah. Oh man, you just enjoy food like it's like you've never enjoyed food before. I was going in on pizza and chips and like alcohol, probably a little too much alcohol, but I was just chocolate. I was just going in on food, man. And then I woke up today and then I went on a cheese. Oh my God.
So not to beat you down or anything like that, right?
Oh,
but
God.
like kind of to beat you down.
He always wants to spin it negative. Always wants to go like, like,
so
Jesus.
And I'm not perfect at dieting, so that's why I feel like I'm just gonna say this anyway. I feel like you're in a caloric deficit all week, 1,600 calories.
I know where this is
track your
going,
macros, whatever. But that one day of off eating, like yesterday, you said eat like you've never eaten before, or like this morning with the cheesecake and stuff like that. I feel so that actually rewrites all of the progress you had during the week. So I'm not trying to beat you down, but I'm just trying to let you know that part. You rewrote your progress, so you're at a net zero. Maybe, and according to Mind Pump, you may even be at a negative. You actually put yourself in a worse position. So you may be at a net negative.
He always
happy dieting.
Always tries to spin it very, very. I mean, and there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. I will say that, because that's what a lot of people tend to do. They like stay in a caloric deficit, but the weekend comes around and it's like boom, we blow it up, and then which one day of flexible dieting for me isn't gonna throw me off. I mean, I'll show you the numbers when it comes to my.
Oh, you don't have to show me anything. I just have to point that out.
It's not gonna throw me off. Okay, I'm very, very good at what I do, and it won't throw me off. It maybe other people, but it won't throw me off. And so last weekend I had Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday of flexible dieting. That's a little more to challenge. If I did that every weekend, I'll just maintain all weekend. But yeah, I went from an average of about 147.2. My average this week was only 147.1. Why? Because I was recovering from what I did last weekend. This morning I weighed in at 147.2. So I expect tomorrow's weigh-in to probably be slightly high. My last week's weigh-in was 147, or this week's weigh-in, I'm sorry, is 147.2. So I think I'm going to be able to progress despite what happened yesterday. This week, I'll still be able to hit a new low. But for really what matters is just being able to immediately lock back in. Just immediately, like you give yourself the flexible dieting and then lock back into what you need to be doing.
That's so hard for me, dude.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard.
It's tough.
Because you're just look at it, and this is a long weekend. It's a 3-day weekend, like I was out in the pool. I was just enjoying, relaxing, and food is a big part of my enjoyment and relaxation. And so yesterday I went off the wall like you did, and now I kind of have to. Now I'm almost debating today. I kind of want to meet the same energy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to meet the same energy as yesterday.
Right.
But man, I just I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the night takes me.
And that's the difference between you and I.
Yeah. Tony likes to be on point.
I will lock
5 days a week, 5 days a week, and likes to rewrite all of his progress.
You're good. You're rewrite. Well, I mean, you look good. Okay, yeah, I can't even insult you because you look good. But you're whatever. But I'm able to kind of and it's not something I've always been able to do. It's something I think I'm just learning. Like I'm in the process of learning, of locking back in. Like tonight, I am looking forward to having my meal plan, my chicken, my refried beans that my mom made. It's 200 grams of food, 150 grams of chicken, 50 grams of beans. It's probably 300, less than 350 calories, I'd say. 300. So it's fantastic and lots of protein. And I look forward to that. And if I want a snack, I'm going to snack on my protein chips, you know? But I might go over a little today. But tomorrow, I guarantee you, I will be locked in. Tuesday, I will be locked in. Wednesday, I will be locked in. Thursday, I will be locked in.
Wow.
Friday, I will be locked in. And then
So I did greet you with some negativity, but I like to be positive too. I like to point out positive things. I do.
He's just feeling bad because he had 2 cheesecakes.
Well,
within the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, and copious amounts of carbs and fats, if I may. But anyways,
it's impressive.
But
I don't say that to insult you, but because you look good, you can afford it.
No,
and
I'm gonna go kill myself now.
You know what I think it is? So you've always prioritized strength training, and I think that really, really helps. I mean, muscles. You probably have a really high base metabolic. What is it called?
Was like a metabolic freaking I don't know.
The amount of calories that you burn if you just sit at rest all day long. What is that called?
Oh yeah, base metabolic rate? No, metabolic caloric rate. I don't know.
Whatever.
We're not We're not freaking pros
dietitians,
here.
But you probably have a really high one. You know, you probably because your muscles need burn a lot of calories to maintain, right? Isn't that how it works? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But I do think it's
the
impressive.
more muscle you have, the more calories you burn just at like if you're just sitting at
in
rest.
A resting. Yeah. No, dude, I do find it impressive that you're able to rebound very quickly and just proceed to get back on track.
Yeah.
When I go down that negative food thing,
it's hard as
I just want to stay there. But
it's
not
hard.
Good.
It's really hard to do the U-turn and spin it back around and find the momentum the other way. Even when I was working with Luke, the coach that I hired for a few months, that was still hard. It wasn't until like recently that it finally clicked for me, and I was like, man, like I'm okay with I can lock out for a little bit, but as soon as and the thing is for me that's working is like I have to plan out my locked in days and my lockout days, and locked in days need to be a lot more. The way I don't rewrite the story, by the way, or whatever the hell you said.
Rewrite your progress.
Rewrite my progress. The way I don't do that is by having planned locked in and locked out days. And the locked in days need to surpass even in a month, right? The locked in days in a month need to be a lot more than the locked out days. And that's the way you're going to maintain that deficit for the month.
That's fair. That's fair.
And if your weight is going down, I mean, I'm trying to cut, and if your weight is going down, I think you're making progress.
That's fair. All right, stop showing off.
I'm just saying, because I don't like your comment. You said a very nasty thing. What's next on the agenda? Is there anything else?
It's overthinking, bro. Like you overthinking your food all the time. Freaking getting your food disorder here over Mr. Food Disorder.
I don't think I wrote that down.
No, we did want to talk about what percentage of overthinking that we do. Are we in overthinking society?
Overthinking.
It's a
twist.
It's a twist in the topic, but I think it's an important topic.
I don't know why I even thought about that.
But let's go on it. So I personally overthink a lot. If I'm not and this is mainly in personal relationships, I do overthink a lot. In my line of work, not really. But yes, overthinking does submerge into my thoughts, and I don't know how much percentage of my day it is, but man, it's just it's a trap, dude. Like it's a trap. Like not being firm with your instinct or your decision, overthinking conversations, overthinking. Oh, should I have said that? Like something on this podcast. Oh, like I need to be more PG because all these girls are soft and stuff like that now. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just joking. But like
girls, I think girls being soft.
You and everyone else who thinks they need PG.
First of all, it was one of our guy friends who brought it up, and he didn't bring it up.
What's his?
Johnny Boy.
I love Johnny Boy.
He brought it up, and he brought it up for good reason.
Johnny Boy brought it up
YouTube policies
because we don't want to demonetize the millions of dollars we're making on this episode. So
right.
It makes sense.
And then I can't donate
love you, Johnny.
to
but
the
Tony
Katie
over
Trail.
and Tony over here is like, oh, like you cursing too much. You're like, stop cursing. So whatever. He's very feminine of Tony, if you will.
That's fine. I have a feminine side. I have a masculine side. And I'm very proud of both of those sides, quite frankly.
No, I'm just joking. But anyway, yeah, the overthinking stuff.
It's
is
a
a
tough
plague.
thing. It's a tough thing, honestly, overthinking, and it brings a lot of anxiety, and it brings nerves, and it brings it just doesn't. Oh man, I have overthinking seasons, and the more I overthink, the less productive I am, the less efficient I am. It's not good. The way I fight it, honestly, is through faith. That's the only thing I can go back to all the time. That's my core, and that's the best way to fight it for me.
So explain that. So how does faith come into play for that?
I mean, I believe that God has got you. God's got you, you know? So no matter what, no matter what has happened in your past, no matter what happens in the future to you, God's got you. Everything happens for a reason. As cliche as that may sound, I do believe that everything happens for a reason, and I'm not going to overthink. Even I'm on the dating apps right now, so whenever I'm talking to a dude or something, I don't know what to say. But I'm at this point, I'm I'm going to say whatever I feel in my heart. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, then it's not going to happen. You know, it is what it is.
So it says over here that overthinking is prevalent in certain age groups. Research indicates that large percent of young adults between the age of 25 to 35 admit to overthinking. 73% admit to overthinking at some point. But it makes sense. What you just said, overthinking when you're in the dating space, overthinking when you're at work. Is my text being read as something, it can be misconstrued, and all these different things. Oh, hey, you're overthinking your relationships and stuff like that. But I think what overthinking does, and by no means am I some type of, I overthink a lot. It actually can lead to significantly more anxiety.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and that in itself can lead to a lot more issues within yourself, self-esteem, anything. It could be affected by it. But the faith part is very important. I feel like with overthinking, there's more things I'll overthink when it comes to personal relationships as opposed to other stuff, right? I'm not going to really overthink anything I said on the podcast, but if I get a text from, my girlfriend or whatever, it's and it, depending on how it's reading, I'm well, that's not how she normally talks. Oh, is something wrong? It's well, did she say something was wrong? Did she point out? And that's the overthinking. So I don't know.
Yeah, you do overthink when it comes to relationships. I've noticed that. So
yeah.
No, it happens. But I think if it's meant to be, it'll be is linked to my faith. And God has a plan for everybody. He will remove it or he will bring it. Whatever happens, happens. You just go with it. And it's, it's a tough thing.
It's learned.
It's you got to really trust. It's a tough thing. It's easier said than done,
100%.
because I can't. I was speaking another thing. I was talking to a friend about this, and sleep is super important when it comes to all sorts of mental health issues that we face now. Yep. I think they say if you're not sleeping well, your brain starts to eat itself.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. Go look it up
over
yourself.
time. Prolonged sleeplessness.
How important is sleep? It's super important, and a lot of us, I think, also we may think that we get fine sleep because we sleep 8 hours a night. However, have you but you still feel maybe a little off. Maybe it's sleep quality, because there's sleep and then there's sleep quality. How well are you sleeping throughout those 8 hours? Because I will say that when I was 20 pounds heavier, my average awake time would be 45 minutes of my time would be awake time. So I can go I already lose almost an hour from just being awake for whatever reason. Now I think that I'm eating healthier. My average awake time is under 20 minutes now. Sometimes it's even under 10 minutes. So that's something I never even recognized or never even thought of, because but it made sense. If I'm eating chips and ice cream right before bed, every other day, it's going to keep me up. My body's trying to digest all that food,
Yeah, it's sleeplessness leads to a mental fog, lapse in decision making skills, so you're not able to make decisions right away. That could be some very important decisions. A lot more anger and hostility, a negative mindset towards a lot of things, and that goes with irritability. But they said that
Sounds like you need to get more sleep.
yeah, for real, right? No, they said like if you take creatine, it actually can offset some of the sleeplessness that you've described, and that's how that creatine is getting a lot of notoriety right now. And most studied supplement on the market was creatine monohydrate. Now creatine, like if you take that, so I do like 10 to 15. I do 10 grams a day, and then on days where I'm sleepless, I'll do 10 to 15. But
Did you take some today, by the way?
yes, I worked out today.
Did you take creatine today?
Yeah. Why? I think I did. Oh, this freaking guy put a fake cockroach next to my creatine. Damn well knowing it. Yeah, well, wait till you find that cockroach. I put it somewhere. Be crawling up your ass later.
Did it freak you out though?
I was like, how the freak did it end up there from my drawer? I was like, what? Yeah, it freaked me out for like 5 seconds.
Well, you put it in my bathroom yesterday. I don't know if you remember that.
Yesterday? I just did that today. I put it in a Q-tip thing.
Okay, well, now you just tell me where you put it. No, yesterday you slid it underneath my door. While I was in the shower, you slid it underneath my door.
Yeah, I don't remember. I must have been a little too. Yeah, but I forgot. Yeah. But anyways, take a creatine. Ladies as well. It's hugely beneficial for ladies. And now it's showing to combat the effects of depression. So people who have mental health disorders are encouraged to take creatine 10 to 20 grams a day. So just these very, very many effects are coming into place. What do you think
of the gummies, the creatine gummies?
I've always been just
I've
only been anti those things only because like, I don't know if it takes away from the efficacy of the creatine. Whereas like I take straight monohydrate, mix it in with the protein, just take it to the mouth. It's like, I know I'm getting monohydrate, right? I'm not getting the glycerin and all this other stuff with it. So I don't know, man. I think it kind of just depends. And how many freaking gummies do you have to eat? Like 6?
I have 4. 4 a day. Yeah.
For how many grams? 5 grams?
5 grams, yeah.
So if you were to do 10, you'd have to eat 8. Yeah. See, you know what I mean?
I don't want to. Yeah. So I slowly wanted to bring it in because creatine does hold more water weight. Eventually, it settles itself. So I didn't want it to like mess up with my mentally speaking with the scale and all that stuff.
Which can lead to overthinking.
I know.
Damn.
So I think in summary, make sure you get some sleep. I think sleep helps a lot with that. With
That's right.
Sleep helps a lot with mental health issues. Is there anything else, Sahaj, that you want to address?
I don't. No, I don't.
Okay.
Apparently, I'm too negative, guys. I'm just kidding.
Apparently, Sahaj needs to get more sleep.
Apparently, I need more sleep too. What's next? Need to go on a freaking diet? But I'm just kidding.
I think you're fine. Are you like? I always ask you this. Like, where are you? Like, are you in a cutting season? Are you in a bulking season? Or are you just maintaining?
I'm just trying to gain as much muscle as I can and strength.
Oh.
So I'm trying to get up to that 500-pound deadlift, trying to get up to like a 400-plus squat. So that's where I'm at. I'm in strength season, trying to gain strength.
Okay. I'm in a cutting season. Eventually, I think I'll be bulking. But I want to do a healthy bulk, have lots of protein, of course, and all that jazz. But I want to cut as much as I can. Probably like down to 130.
Yeah, that's solid.
So that's another 15 pounds for me to go. And we'll get there. We're going to make it happen, hopefully, by the end of the year. And then go from there. See what happens. Man, this fitness thing is fun, isn't it? Isn't it fun? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another episode. I think this is number 38. Is this number 38? I think this is number 38. And hopefully, I don't know. Are we here next week? No, I'm in Cancun next week.
Cancun.
We'll be here in a couple weeks. And then we'll have a great summer. We're going to have a fantastic summer. Thank you so much. God bless. And anything else, Saj?
Nope.
All
Bye.
Right, thank you. Bye.
A podcast unlike any other. You're listening to The Tony Gallo Show.